This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.
The final score, Solihull Moors 1, Wrexham 0. Massive disappointment for Wrexham. I've got to be honest, I wasn't at the game. I've just watched the entire 90 minutes through. Glutton for punishment. And it was a disappointing performance by Wrexham, especially as they were then denied by that late goal. Changes made to the side. We looked very tired at the end of the game against Bromley, and it was understandable there were alterations. Maguire drew, making way, dropping down onto the bench. James Jennings, of course, not fit enough to play as well. So there were inevitable alterations. Chris Holroyd given his first start of the season. And Wrexham started poorly, in all honesty. Solihull Moors are a sort of archetypal non-league team, if you like. Big, strong, physical. And they executed their game plan much better than we did in the first half. Lots of long balls from either side, but Solihull's had a great deal more purpose. They were trying to knock long balls in, turn Wrexham's defence. Their front four are good, as well as being physical. Danny Wright really working the centre-backs, trying to get in behind. On the right-hand side, Yusuf is a big physical presence as well. And so they were just knocking balls in, forcing us further back. We were hitting long balls in return because we were unable to play our way out from the back because we were getting pushed too deep. And when we were hitting long balls forwards, they were inaccurate. Fondop given very little to work with. In fact, a theme throughout the match, how many long balls ended up on Holroyd's head. And he's the last one out of that front three of Fondop, Pike and Holroyd you really want to be singling out for long service. But anyway, so an unhappy start for Wrexham, and as Solihull started to grind us down, they started to create some chances. Long throw into the goal mouth, 6 yards out, a flick on, a very generous free kick given to Wrexham as the ball dropped into the goal mouth, and Wrexham had a bit of an escape. Then a big diagonal, Danny Wright had pulled out onto Mark Carrington, nodded the ball down, Yusuf 6 yards out, but Leighton, very quick off his line, managed to get a block onto it and knock it back onto Yusuf to go behind for the goal kick. 26 minutes in, Wrexham certainly not playing well, but defending perfectly solidly. But then came a key turning point in the game. Pearson and Smith had looked solid and had dealt with a lot of the long stuff that was coming their way. Then Manny Smith went down, an innocuous long ball towards him, and he just landed awkwardly. It looked worrying, looked like a twisted knee, and he had 3 minutes of treatment, which always indicates that this could be serious. He was able to stand up and walk off the pitch, but could play no further part. Doug Tharm came on, and I say it was a turning point. It actually changed the game in a couple of ways. Defensively, Wrexham weren't so solid. I do not at all mean to criticise Tharm, who only made his league debut last 2 days ago. He didn't do badly. But Danny Wright, as we all know, is a clever centre-forward and a very difficult customer to deal with physically. And he immediately knew what he had to do, pulled on to Tharm, and was able to win a lot of balls against him in the air. So Wrexham's defence was not looking so solid. The other alteration, I've got to say, Tharm passed the ball out from the back very well. And in fact, Wrexham improved a little bit in terms of going forwards once Tharm had come on, because Tharm's long passing was good. And his accuracy playing at his feet was good. So Wrexham actually got out from the back better with Tharm back there. There was a dangerous moment soon after Smith came off when Summerfield made a mistake on the edge of the area. Solihull, again, what they were doing well, knocking it in, forcing us back, and then crowding us, pressing on the edge of the area. Summerfield in a crowd tried to dribble his way out and lost it to Danny Wright on the edge of the box. It fell to Yusuf, who swung in a curler, which wasn't the best. It lacked power and was straight at Leighton. Leighton with a strange stiff-armed parry, hands facing downwards, taking it on a half volley, pushed it right up in the air, and fortunately, because the box itself was fairly empty, was able to get out and grab hold of the loose ball. But Wrexham actually finished the half a little bit better, and part of it because of Tharm's better delivery from the back. An excellent diagonal by Tharm found Holroyd. He swung in a cross which was cleared, and Summerfield, on rushing on the edge of the area, headed a long way off target. It was a difficult header to control. The clearance basically was driven at his face, and he managed to get his head to it. It's the sort of thing that could go anywhere. If it had landed on target, it was going at decent velocity, it probably would have given the keeper a problem, but he couldn't control it. And then the last chance of the half, also falling to Wrexham. Roberts getting on an overlap and swinging a good cross into Fondop. He did well to nod it down to Holroyd in space on the edge of the area. He took a swing at it on the volley though and sliced it horribly well off target. Looks like half-time there were words said in the Wrexham changing room, because Wrexham's best spell was the 15 minutes after half-time, as they started to come out and look a bit more positive, got the ball down on the ground more, fed better stuff into Fondop, who engaged well with the Solihull centre-backs, who were both big hulking figures, as would decisively turn the game in the 81st minute, and Wrexham just started to come into it a little bit more. They brought Scott Burgess on the hour as well to add a little bit of tidiness for Luke Summerfield in midfield, and didn't make many chances despite that. The best chance they made in the whole game came about 10 minutes into the half. Roberts again with a good cross for Holroyd, 10 yards out, a good headed opportunity, and he planted it straight at the keeper. At the other end, though, Solihull will continue to grind away at Wrexham. Record cutting in from the left-hand side, had some really good hold-up play and working the ball back to Osborne from 25 yards, tried to hit a curler, but it never came back. And then a good switch by Osborne. He was a good player playing off the striker. He links play well to Record on the left-hand side. He drove in a near-post cross, and he was Solihull's best chance until the goal. Danny Wright attacking it. Great opportunity, 6 yards out. Didn't get enough on it, though, and just hit it straight at Leighton. Then it was a dangerous moment for Wrexham after a long throw-in was cleared. Yusuf on the right-hand side managed to cut in and drive in a shot, and Leighton standing at his near post, a continental-style parry/punch away to safety. The game felt like it was going to peter out into a pretty drab goalless draw. Wrexham had a hopeful shout for a penalty when there's a free kick in the centre circle, hit straight into the box. Pearson went up with both centre-backs, claimed he was held back, having looked at the replay. No, I don't think so, in all honesty. And it looked to be petering out. In fact, the referee added to that impression with a bizarre little episode. First yellow card ever given to a player, somebody on the bench in a Wrexham match when the assistant manager was booked for Solihull. The referee walked slowly across, gave the yellow, walked slowly back. I had to have a look at the clock. He took over 90 seconds out of the game with just that one incident. Barely spent any time speaking to the assistant manager either. It was a strange one. It all seemed to be drifting along, but then 81st minute, Wrexham conceded a free kick in the centre circle and didn't deal with it well. It was launched to the left hand side of the box. The centre back Liam Daly got up and beat Farm, nodding it down into the goal mouth, and then the other centre back Goodger did really well, got goal side of Roberts and a nice left foot finish from 6 yards out. Leighton had no chance and Solihull had the lead. Solihull were physical and they were cunning. They knew how to hang on to a lead. Their game management was very good, and they basically closed it out. There was a lot of time wasting, but then, to be fair, the ref did add on 8 minutes of added time, partly because of his own slow movement around the pitch, perhaps. There was time wasting substitutions, but Wrexham really didn't create much. In fact, the only real chance they had was 3 minutes after Solihull's goal, when Holroyd managed to find some space and burst into the box down the left channel, but he really snatched at his shot, pulled it well wide of the right hand post. In added time, Wrexham launched a long throw into the box, and the keeper came and was maybe lucky to get a free kick. He came into a big crowd. I think he was definitely impeded, but looking at it again, I think it might have been a Solihull arm across him that really knocked him off balance. Although it should be said he did punch it to clear to safety anyway, so I don't think there's too much to complain about, in all honesty. Wrexham hugely frustrated by that, but really, apart from the 10-15 minutes after half-time, really didn't get things going that well. For my money, and here's a straightforward man on the match call, Mark Carrington was head and shoulders above the rest. He's out of position playing at left back. His use of the ball was better than most of the others, and defensively he did pretty well, not least when Yusuf was trying to challenge him physically, because like I said, Yusuf on the right hand side's big physical player. Danny Wright up front troubled the centre backs. The centre backs did pretty well. Manny Smith and Pearson looked sound. Well, for the length time Smith was on the pitch, of course. Pearson continued to look pretty solid. Roberts defensively was sound, had a couple of good breaks, a couple of good crosses he put in, and then in midfield we struggled really to engage with Solihull, in all honesty. Summerfield and Young had pretty quiet games by their standards. Burgess struggled to get to the pace of the match, in all honesty. And Keel Rice, yeah, again, hoovered up, did some solid work on the edge of his box, wasn't able to really influence things further up. The strikers maybe a bit starved of service up front. I felt a little sorry for Fondop, who was subbed late on for Maguire-Drew, because whether he actually had much to fight for and engage with when he didn't do badly against the centre-backs. Holroyd was trying desperately to cut in from the left and try and create things, but didn't have the end product, and Pike struggled really to get into the match. So an unhappy game for Wrexham. But hey, you lose games. That's life. Back on the horse again against Aldershot on Saturday. Still second in the table, and still plenty for Wrexham to get their teeth into. Final score: Solihull Moors 1, Wrexham 0.
This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.